Greetings, one and all. Thank you for joining us for another edition of What a Week. I'm sitting in for Terry Martin. My name's Elaine Smith, and I'd like to introduce you to my charming co-host. That would be Mr. C, Mr. Comedian. A round of
What a
applause
go on,
for
what a
him,
go on.
please.
Big up,
Yo, yo,
big up,
yo, yo,
Elaine. How you
yo.
doing?
I'm
Bless
fine,
up, darling.
thanks. And
Viewers,
you?
everybody good.
Right
Everybody
there.
good.
Keep your hands together for Mr. Tony Crossbody.
Good evening, family. How you doing?
What a go on, Tony.
Greetings.
Go on, son. How you doing? You all right?
I'm good, man. Super blessed, bro. Super blessed.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Blessed and highly favoured we are to be here for another Tuesday with some great topics, I might add, to get through. And we've got so many that we're just going to crack on with it. So, people has been getting awards, I've been hearing.
Oh.
People's been getting Order of Distinction for their role in reggae music. None other than David Rodigan. We'll give him a round of applause.
Big up the Ram
See
Jam.
there? Yeah. David Rodigan, stop boy, somebody. Gold teeth, buck teeth, side teeth, hot lean, everything. So, fellas, how do we feel about this Order of Distinction with our David Rodigan for reggae music?
Well, I don't know who David Rodigan is, so I'll let Tony go first on this one. I don't think I was alive. I don't think I was born.
My dad told me about Rodigan. I don't know nothing.
Yeah. I don't know much of.
Well, you know, Rodigan has been around for a very, very long time, championing sounds and stuff. And I suppose, in a way, he deserves the award because it's being given to the British establishment. And they don't have much to go on when in terms of the real facts about reggae music. All right. So, first of all, I would give their researchers the sack, because it's not like I don't want him to have the award, because he's been there, he's put his work in and all of that. But in my mind, there are so many other people that can get an award as well, if not instead.
Oh, well, controversy already, Elaine. Listen, me personally, I think it's a well-deserved award. I think Sir David Rodigan, Ram Jam himself, has been a pioneer of Jamaican music for decades without let up, without taking his foot off the. You know, he's been a purist for the music. He's been a pure ambassador for the music. I don't think there's any bad word out there as regards to David Rodigan's love and passion for the music. So I think this Order of Distinction, what he's got from Jamaica for the international promotion of Jamaican music, that's what it's for. You can't dispute that. The man's been all over the world.
This is why.
So I think in that instance, because I've seen things going around on WhatsApp saying that, you know, we should have David Rodigan's award should be taken back from him. And I think, you know what, shame on the people who started that nonsense. Now, your argument is a good argument. There are other people who should also be recognized, but not instead of David Rodigan. It should be an addition. It shouldn't be. We should never, and we need to stop this as black people, saying that just because one person's got something and we think somebody else may be more deserving, that this person who's been recognized should be stripped of it. We should say this person's been rewarded, and now these others should too. And that's what I think. Well deserved, David.
Yeah, I agree with that. But let the record stand and stood that I didn't say he should be stripped of it.
Okay, cool.
And I did say, you know, instead of all right. And I say that because, you know, when you talk about, and you did say for the export or international promotion of reggae music, and I would say, what about Stone Love? What about these sound systems when we didn't have radio and actually reggae music was firing on all cylinders out of Jamaica through the sound system era?
I disagree again, Elaine, because you see, like when we have an award ceremony, like the Oscars, for example, and you know Denzel Washington wins the award for best male actor, we don't say, oh well, you know what about Will Smith? What about Lawrence Fishburne? What about we recognize that person for the award that they've been given.
I didn't
In this
say
moment-
that I'm not recognizing him for that. I
Yeah,
did
but
not
then we
say
shouldn't be
that.
talking. We shouldn't be talking about Stone Love and anybody else. We should be
Why
just talking
not?
about celebrating
Come
David
on
Rodigan.
now. But,
No,
but
we
don't
should just be.
forget, But don't forget. No.
Go on.
Because no. You can't say we shouldn't be having a conversation about this. We should absolutely be having a conversation about this. Absolutely having a conversation about this. Not about stripping him of his award, but also shedding light on other people and other vehicles where reggae music has come up.
Well,
You know,
then I
you
think
know,
the conversation
so-
should therefore be, then let's recognize and celebrate David Rodigan. Let's talk about his achievements.
Which we gave him a round of applause.
No, a
for
round of
at that
applause is not
soccer
enough.
show.
A round of
it's
applause
not?
is not enough. No way. It's not
you
enough.
lead it then. You
we should
lead
be
it, oh, great
we
one.
should be talking
You
about
lead
how
it.
he started and back in the day. And if anybody's name should be mentioned, it should be what's his name? The guy who was, because back in the day there was only David Rodigan and
Steve
Tony.
Barnard.
No, the
and
two.
Steve
who's-
Barnard.
Go on, and
first,
who?
And then Tony Williams.
Tony Williams. We should be talking about.
Right?
Because that's
R.I.P.
how far back we're going. See, remember, these are the names that we should be talking about and hailing up as well alongside David Rodigan, and then we can go along the journey, and then we can start mentioning the Stone Loves and all the others afterwards as well. But I think first and foremost,
Can I ask you something?
We have to recognize the champions for who they are and what they've received, the award they've received. That's just my
When did
thought.
you start? No. When you were little, growing up, did you listen to reggae music?
Of course, yeah. I had no choice. My father would play it, and that's it. I couldn't play what I wanted to play in my household. You're mad.
And how old are you?
Old enough
young
to
are you?
old enough to remember David Rodigan, Tony Williams.
When did you start?
I grew up in Kensal Green, so we had record shops at the back of my bedroom. Yeah.
Venture Records.
So I heard all of that music coming through in my bedroom. So I had no choice but to listen to reggae music and to love it.
Now
it's
you
part of our
see, this
culture.
is the difference. It's because you have no choice.
Mm.
But this is in my blood per se, and a lot of people's blood who actually was, our breast milk was reggae music. Do you understand? And I can't help thinking that kisses go by favors where this is concerned. And I will say it again, there's no way I want to strip him of his award, because I saw it with my own two eyes, the amount of work that he's put in. And let's face it, for a white man to go into the reggae industry where a weak heart cannot sustain a career in the reggae industry, they can't. Well, he's managed to do it. However he's managed to do it, he's managed to do it. All right. And he fills arenas. He filled the Royal Albert Hall just recently. And even then, Rodigan, I'll tell you direct, Rodigan, that, you went into the Royal Albert Hall celebrating reggae music, and your musical director was somebody who was about as young as my son. And for the years that you've been in the music industry, tell me you couldn't find a musical director that can play the music backward, right? And that's who you presented us with to present and celebrate reggae music. Carry on with your argument.
It's not an argument; it's a point of view.
No. Carry on with your. Well, we're black. We're
it's a point of view.
We're point of view mean argument still, but it's like if my mother says to me 9:00 at the night, she says to me, "Ilian, make me a cup of tea," and I go and bring her tea. She'll say, "What this you bring me? I want chocolate." Because everything named tea. Do you know what I mean? That's how we talk, right? So what I'm saying is, right, no gesturing, no thing. I was disappointed when I saw that, and I don't think that can be justified to me or anybody that grew up on reggae milk as a staple diet. Reggae milk. That's a good one.
Reggae milk. I like reggae milk. Yeah.
Reggae milk. Reggae music ain't something to be just taken as something light, right? Reggae music was our news. It carries a lot of social issues and banter. And, that's how, when we were growing up, we knew about ourselves through reggae music. Do you understand what I'm saying? We knew about ourselves through reggae music, coming out of Jamaica. and then we here in the UK built our own brand of reggae music called Lovers Rock. The generation after us used reggae music in jungle. Reggae music is so dear to me, right? So dear to me that I don't want anyone taking the Riley out of it. Do you understand? So when you're talking about giving out awards, I need to see another one go to several rightful owners. Do you understand? I'm not saying he didn't put the work in. He did put the work in. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about him, you know. But what I am saying, all right, there are other names that could have been called as well.
Okay. Tony, I mean, I say you love reggae music. What's your thoughts on this, bruv?
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody can deny Mr. Rodigan's talent and his dedication to the music. But it's quite interesting that he should receive an award which is actually strictly for Jamaicans. So the Order of Distinction medal is actually for Jamaicans only.
Okay.
So that in itself is very interesting. But my problem really with all of this is that this is just part of a long history of Black people creating things and then, you know, getting a white figurehead to represent it. We can go back to Elvis Presley, you know, who imitated the great Roy Hamilton, and Otis Blackwell, who sung his songs for him, and then Elvis just sung over it. If you got anybody goes on YouTube and listen to Roy Hamilton, you'll see where Elvis got his style from. You could look at Eminem, you know, who's now known as the rap god. Tim Westwood, who's the head of, you know, hip hop and rap.
All right,
So,
you're gone too far now. You're gone too far now. When you start talking about Timothy, you're gone too far now. You're gone too far. All the other names I can deal with. Elvis, he was on top of it. When you start talking about Timothy now, yeah.
Very much of the Bible verse which says that you will plant the vineyard, but you will not eat the fruit.
See it there?
Right? So it's not a question of the man's talent. And if you look back into the history with Rodigan, right? I remember just before he started his Reggae Rockers show back in, I think it was 79, Capital Radio sent him to Jamaica, right? And he was paid for him to go and meet all the reggae artists, to go and introduce himself. He was taken under the wing of a DJ called Mikey Dread, who showed him how to do all the jingles and all them. Rodigan, I put on the pressure. He met all the artists that did all the jingles for him, and he brought that all back, and then he played that to us, and that was a wonderful thing that we all heard. Sound system man like Coxon brought him into dances, showed him the ropes, blah blah blah. And now my issue is, and I think, and this is a point that even Coxon himself, Lloydie Coxon, mentioned, was that, you know, Rodigan is now referred to as the godfather of reggae music, right?
Well, I don't know who calls him that, but I wouldn't call him that. I wouldn't go that far.
But this is the reference, right? So
who calls him that? Where does that reference come from?
Well, there was a show called Daily Politics, right, which he was on, right, and he was referred to as a godfather, ambassador of reggae music.
I've seen it as well. I have.
I can understand about ambassador, but godfather. Who I can see that there's a lazy researcher at BBC or ITV who might want to try and give him that title, but they don't hold no weight and no status within reggae music. So we don't accept that title.
So, but going back to my point is that it's not so much the man himself. It's the plot that whenever Black people create something, right, it's important for them, right? Not for them, but for the powers that be, who basically run distribution and run the promotion of the music. So basically have the white figurehead who's out there pushing that music, right? And obviously they put the work in, and obviously they then get the rewards. But
I would agree with that. Sorry, Tony. I would agree with that, but I just got to pick you up on that point. I would agree with that. But in this case, this is not the white music industry. This is Jamaica.
Yes. But it doesn't.
Jamaica. This is the government of Jamaica who have issued this order of distinction. It's not coming from, you know.
But you've also got to remember.
Go on.
Sorry. So you've got to remember that we celebrated Jamaica's independence. All right. And we all know they're not independent.
Well, so I don't celebrate it anymore.
Well, what I'm saying is, well, I do because my mum does. You know what I mean? Bless her heart, right? But you know, so it wasn't the Jamaican government that was giving him that award. It's come from Britain, isn't it? It's come from Britain.
Here's the
Because
thing.
they're not independent. Somebody might have just said,
No.
somebody might have just said, you know what? No, right. Would you please award our David Rodigan,
Right.
coming from Jamaica?
Is that your Rusty Lee impression?
All right, I'm being a really bad girl right now.
No,
I'm being a bad girl.
No,
I'm being a bad girl. But
I think they're all valid points that both yourself and Tony have made, and I think that, you know, there is definitely a kind of a history of, you know, of our people. But this is the thing. I think, why do we have to wait for other people to recognize the greats in our industry? Why don't we just do it ourselves?
well, we need a body that's going to take up the mantle and actually be responsible to do it. The late great Tony Williams, he tried to put on he did put on a few awards, you know. There's been several people that's been trying to do awards for, you know, to cater for our greatness. But because I will say politely, the glass ceiling, for whatever reason, it doesn't go. I mean, the biggest one we had was the Mobos, and that got hijacked. So it's like, you know, if they can mow down, what was the city called? The Black City, mow it down.
Motown, Detroit.
Not Motown. No. You know where? Oh my God.
Oh, Tulsa.
Yes, Tulsa.
Tulsa.
All right? And we see this happening time and time again in its various forms. So until we really get some money and some power behind us, we're not going to be able to sustain anything. And even when we get the money and power behind us, we're going to get a fight as well. So it's not that, you know, we don't want to do it or we don't have the inclination to do it. We just can't seem to sustain it because. And that's all we need, is to be able to sustain something. And then we're away.
Let's just read a couple of these comments here. Cheryl Small, talking about Tony Williams, says Tony wasn't recognized either as much as the white man Rodigan.
100%.
100%. Yeah.
They were definitely equals in that time and era. They were. You couldn't listen to one show and not the other. As far as I was concerned, you had to listen to both, because both presented a different perspective of reggae music.
Definitely.
And both voices were genuinely
really good and
really good and in tune. And yeah, so, you know, he should equally be applauded as with David Rodigan, 100%. What else?
John Ashton says, listen, I'll tell you something. Play some great radio. Why not give the awards to some Jamaican DJs? To get the award.
Barry G.
To be fair to you, John, Wee Powell from Stone Love a few years ago, I believe, got the Order of Distinction medal as well.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Wow, you see, this is the thing now.
You see.
We have to be fair when we talk about this. As I pointed out, the two controversies I have is that even Rodigan, has said on his own Twitter that he was surprised to get this award because he knows that this award is only for Jamaicans. So obviously. Okay. The Jamaican culture minister and the prime minister have gone out of their way to put a foreign national and give them that award. And you have individuals here, Jamaican-born individuals, who've also done much to pioneer reggae music, not just in the UK, but also in the US. And I think I can't remember who said it. Somebody in the comments talked about how Rodigan had the backing of, you know, the BBC to give him the money so he can pay for the dub plates to play, and you know it comes with all that.
It's called wages.
No.
But people were giving them to him free as well. People were giving it to him
because
free.
At the end of the day, you know that your dub plates are going to be heard all over the world. Yeah, why not? That's business. You'd be stupid if you had a dub plate and you didn't give it to Rodigan. You'd be a fool.
Right, but free dub plates come as a point of having a name already. When you're starting out as a sound or a DJ, dub plates are paid for, and that money has to come from somewhere. And so you need those dub plates to basically establish your name. This is what happens. The point being is that from a resource point of view, the backers like these radio stations have the money to pump into that, to promote this person, to put them up there as a figurehead for whatever genre of music they want to put him up for. And I'm saying that this has a history going back, well, way back into the early 20th century, but more prominently with Elvis Presley and coming upwards. That individuals who have virtually mediocre and no talent are trained up, right, to perform. Then with much more practice, they get better, and then eventually they're called the king of rock and roll. When the real man who actually who he sounds just like, nobody knows about him.
That's right. You see.
So this is a history that happens within black music. That, like I said, the Bible says that you plant the vineyard, and next man's going to eat the fruit.
Yeah.
And
however, I still don't like this narrative. The fact that you're akinning Elvis Presley to David Rodigan, and who has David Rodigan copied? Yes, he's been mentored by lots of black reggae greats. He's been mentored by them, but you know, he's not a copycat.
Can I just say, in any case, it's not what David Rodigan's done for reggae music. It's what reggae music's done for David Rodigan. Think about it.
Right. I mean, at the end of the day, who's Rodigan made a star? Who's he boost? What has he put into the music? I mean, you know.
Okay, you know, it's a good question. Mary Ann Whittington says Barrington Levy is on record as saying that Jamaica owes Rodigan a lot, as he has fought to get reggae music played in the UK despite being constantly disrespected by the UK for being white.
Well, you can.
But look. Reggae music was in the UK way before David Rodigan. Pirate radio stations were beating reggae music, all right? When you talk about black music on a whole, LWR for one, we brought, Capital Radio weren't playing Luther Vandross and Diana Ross. If they played any kind of black music, it would have been from Motown. We played Cheryl Lynn. We brought in, you know, Blackstreet and all of them, right? When it came to reggae music, we were doing the same thing, and all they did was to tune into the Pirates, picked out what, you know, or you know, tried to compete with us or get back some of their audience by playlisting what we were playlisting. If it wasn't for us, they wouldn't need a David Rodigan. If nobody was playing reggae music, they wouldn't need a David Rodigan. David Rodigan never come with him grip full up our records and knocked on a BBC door and say, or Capital's door and say, look, there's this new form of music that nobody has heard. Let me present it. No, we were there that forced the BBC and Capital to do a reggae show. So they took somebody that they could speak to, right? Rodigan speaks the language.
No, Rodigan's not the only black DJ. Rodigan's not the only reggae DJ that Capital or BBC have had. No,
they've had more. But listen to what I'm saying to you. The way it's sounding like Rodigan gave birth to reggae music in the UK.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
But the Barrington Levy, or the way it was said, right? It was, to me, well, we can watch this back. That's why I love Flimmy enough, right? It said...
He said Jamaica owes Rodigan a lot. Has he fought to get music played in the UK despite being constantly disrespected by the UK for being white? It doesn't say that he was the first. No, it doesn't say that he was the only one. It's just saying that's what he did.
Yeah, okay. Yes, that's what he did, to get it played on the BBC, not in the UK.
It doesn't mention BBC. You're assuming the BBC. No. You're making an assumption that it's the BBC. He doesn't say in what this person says. BBC is not mentioned. I'm listening.
It wasn't. No, but listen to me again, right? What I heard, which you repeated, that he fought to get reggae played in the UK. I'm saying reggae music was being played in the UK enough, and we were bringing some of those artists over to perform. All right, I was there bringing some of those artists over to perform before Rodigan was on mainstream radio. Right, we were bringing them over. So reggae music was already being played.
Nobody's disputing
in the UK.
That.
Yeah,
Nobody's
but that's what he said.
That.
He fought to get reggae music played in the UK. That's what it said.
Well, he probably did, but he's not saying that he's the only one.
Well, to be fair, I mean, you've got to give. I mean, Barrington Levy, international superstar, and he has his view. But I don't think Barrington Levy knows the depth of the reggae scene in the UK prior to.
Oh no, that's another assumption. Barrington Levy's been over here and done enough stuff.
I know.
So you can't say that he doesn't know the UK scene. He knows it very well. He knows it very well.
Yeah, but Barrington Levy is of a certain age group, right? And there were sounds here 15, 20 years before Barrington Levy and even lived here. But the brother just called Count Shelley, rest in peace. Duke Vin, Lloydie Coxon, Sir Fanso. These are all sounds that, you know, in the very early days, right, of sound system in the 50s and the 60s. This is before Barrington's time. These men were trotting up and down the highways and byways of Britain, taking the music
100%.
So, and many times getting arrested for playing, you know what I mean, and breaking down on motorways and so forth and so on. So these men their whole life was a sacrifice for sound system business, right? And when Rodigan came in, and this is the other part, this is the other issue I really have, not with Rodigan, but how when we have our craft that we create and our outsider wants to come in, I think we're too quick to embrace them and show them the ropes, right?
But that's who we are as a people. Why would we take on Western society behavior? This is the thing. What we got to understand: our true selves as Africans are embracing. We embrace people. Yeah. We are Mother Nature. We embrace people into who we are.
But that's how we get.
But we need a vetting system.
We don't need to become the others. We don't need to become the others. We don't need to become bitter. We don't need to become the others.
No. We're just a talk. But you know, the thing is that I'm a stickler for history as well. All right. So you know, if we are speaking about reggae music in the UK, all right, we've still got to cite people like Sir George Sound System that was carrying reggae music frequently, had clubs and bars and all that. What about Peckins Records, who incidentally, before Rodigan became Rodigan.
Yeah, and Daddy Peckins, come on.
Daddy Peckins, right? These people, you know, Jamaica should come to the UK and Peckins is still there on the Askew Road fighting the good fight. 100%. Trying to sell their, you know, do you understand what I'm saying to you? So
yeah.
To me, we're not hearing these names. And outside, and when you look at people like Sir George, like Anthony Brightly, and you see what he has done off the back of reggae music, like Startup Trident, you know, reggae music is a movement. It's a movement. Do you understand? And like I said, it carries a lot of social commentary. I haven't heard Rodigan outside of reggae music doing anything else apart from that. And whenever there is some, well, the reason why I say it is because let any black person rise to prominence and the whole world is on them saying that they've got a responsibility to the people behind them and a responsibility for this and a responsibility for that. You've just said it. Does he have a responsibility?
I don't know.
We're going to talk about Stormzy in a little while. You know, he's taken upon himself to donate £500,000 to children in need. Do you understand? Scholarships, you know, for the arts. I don't know exactly, so I don't know the full story. And
we'll cover that later.
Cover that later. But when you think about Rodigan, and Jamaica is probably second home, he would have driven past the shanty towns. I wonder if he's built one house out there for somebody else.
Just a quick comment. Fiona says, I listened to an interview with David Rodigan a few years ago. I can't remember who it was with. The presenter referred to him as the king of reggae. He sat back and lapped up all the applause and did not correct the presenter. From that day, I've been disappointed in him.
Listen, you should be disappointed in the presenter who called him the king of reggae, not in David Rodigan. If I went on a show, no.
The presenter
no. This is what we've got to stop doing. If I went on a show and somebody called me the king of comedy, I'd take that. I'd say, oh, thank you very much. So you can't be disappointed with me if your favorite is Bernie Mac or Richard Pryor or Mo Gilligan or whatever. That's about personal choice. But that presenter, probably to him, he saw David Rodigan as the king of reggae, but the argument's with the presenter, because we need to educate the presenter. Not David Rodigan knows where he is in the reggae music industry. He knows where he sits.
My feeling is that we should adopt a policy similar to the Chinese, which is that we don't allow our art and craft and what we build out to foreigners. We don't teach them the ropes. We don't apprenticeship them, right? Because anytime you taking someone under the wing, if you have your job and they say, "Oh, Mr. C, show John how to do this, how to do that," you bet, boy, that John is going to be your boss after you showed him all the ropes. And
so you're saying we should do to David Rodigan like what the Chinese did to Bruce Lee. Send ninjas to kill him.
He's only joking. Big headline. You know what I mean?
David Rodigan, you have been showing the people the ways of the dumpling.
That was very much why Bruce Lee got a fight, because the community was upset that he was showing foreigners what they thought were the arts that they spent 2,000, 3,000 years developing. And I'm saying that we're concerned, and you pointed this out earlier. You said, well, the thing was we're open, people were all embracing. But the problem with that all embracing mentality is that we leave ourselves open to exploitation, right?
Yeah.
And then for people to take our goods and run off with it, and then say that we created it. That's the problem. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the thing
I mean, look at the jerk rice.
In 50 years' time, when we're dead and gone, right, and we're not about. Some white guy going to come and say, "Yeah, well, long time ago, you know, we invented reggae music," and there'd be nobody around to basically question him.
Yeah, but you see, the thing is now, look, we want to talk about reggae music being Jamaican, but we've got to understand that the bass and everything, it came from Africa. We don't give Africa no credit for it.
Yes,
Stop your noise. No, we don't.
Yes,
even with our food, the curries and everything. The reason why we got curries in our food in Jamaica is because of Indian influx. We don't talk about that. We don't give them no credit for it. Stop on the nice. Come on. Teeth curry. Teeth curry from India. Move on, go ahead.
You're just being a comedian.
I don't know what Jamaicans say. Well, you know, so if it wasn't for Mr. Patel, you know, we wouldn't really know if to do curry mutton good.
No, that ain't the truth at all. Stop your nose.
It's the truth. Search it. Anyway, listen, we can talk about this subject all day long. We've got so many others to talk about. George Floyd, wow. I've just been told that George Floyd's murder trial is going to be televised in full. Minnesota versus Chauvin, I think the police officer's name is. Elaine, have you got any details on this? When you heard that, the fact that it's going to be televised in full, what ran through your mind?
What ran through my mind? The revolution will be televised. So, you know, we're at that point now where nothing can be done behind closed doors. And I think they owe it to the public for us to see that. Because we're all being fed by this story and that story. And to be honest with you, I actually thought that, what's his name, Chauvin, was actually out on bail. And now you're saying that he's not out on bail, is he?
No, I think he is out on bail.
Is he out on bail?
Last thing I saw, he was, because remember there was that video of him being in the shops.
In the shop,
shopping,
that's right.
And somebody was saying, "Why are you out? You
Why
should be."
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that he's still out on bail. I don't think anything would have changed.
I think that the whole thing should be televised so that we can see exactly what's going on and how it's being dealt with. I think it's a good thing. Go on.
Sorry, Tony, what's your thoughts?
You know, when I heard that, the first thing that came to mind was O.J. Simpson trial.
Yeah.
Very much so.
I can see why in a way they'd want that to be public, but the problem sometimes is that when you start to see the will of the people and they get upset or the threat of rioting or whatever it is, sometimes, you know, justice, you know,
suffers.
Yeah, it can suffer due to pressure.
It becomes a media circus.
Right. So, for example, let's say they hear, well, okay, they're looking at giving him a 5-year sentence. Now they're already getting a sense of the streets. I'm not happy about that, and they're about to tear the place down, right? So now, obviously, the pressure is on to, you know, give them a sentence that the people want. Now, we can say whether that's fair or unfair, but the point being is that for me, I'm very interested to sort of see the case, to see what because a lot of evidence is going to come out that we didn't really know about, right? Other than what we saw in cameras, and a lot of the background information. I'm particularly interested to find out about their relationship because apparently they both worked as bouncers at the same club.
Yeah, I'm not sure about whether I believe that though, because
I think it's actually true. I mean, I saw about 3 or 4 different newspaper reports in America that corroborated that.
Well, let me ask you a question then, based on that information. So they may have worked in the same building, but I don't think they were friends or associates.
No.
And the reason why I say that is because if so, then if you knew somebody was kneeling on your neck like that, you'd address him by his first name. You'd be saying to him, "Come on, Tony, what go on, man? Come on, you're taking the mick now. It's me, Tony." You see what I mean? You'd have that kind of conversation. And because none of that was mentioned, he didn't mention the guy's name at all. That to me shows me that he didn't know him like that.
No, I agree. I definitely agree with that 100%. But it's going to be a very interesting trial. And I think it's going to be something that people are going to be debating in the streets.
I think that it should be shown, and I think that every not a word should be missed, and it should be shown. And I don't think that they should be worried about, not pleasing the streets, because I think the streets are fair. And if they give him a 5-year sentence, then they can expect a riot.
Yeah, but then it depends on what he's been tried for. If he's been tried for murder or manslaughter, again, it's you have. All
right, so I've got a piece. I've got a piece here. All right, the four former Minnesota police officers charged in the killing of George Floyd could face a jury trial in March, as a judge warned the men to avoid speaking publicly about the case during the hearing on Monday. 3 appeared at the county court in Minnesota, while Derek Chauvin, who was captured on video kneeling on Mr. Floyd's neck, attended the hearing via video conference from Ramsey County Correctional Center. So that's why I thought that he's still inside. But anyway, where he is being held on a $1.25 million bail.
Okay.
So I was a little bit confused. So Judge Peter Khalid has set a tentative trial date for 8th of March 2021. The next hearing is in the officer's case is set for 11th September. I'm trying to find out what they're being tried for. Let me just quickly speed read. All right, so Mr. Chauvin faces charges of 2nd-degree murder, as well as a 3rd-degree murder and 2nd-degree manslaughter after he was filmed kneeling against Mr. Floyd's neck.
All right, exactly. So you see, when we're talking about 2nd-degree murder, 3rd-degree murder, manslaughter, he's not going to be getting the sentences what black people are thinking. So what we need to do, we need to research what's the maximum and minimum terms you can get for 2nd-degree, 3rd-degree murder and manslaughter. Because this is where realistically his sentence is going to be within that category. So it's never going to be, 20 or 30 years. It's not going to be that. It's definitely that alone shows me that it's not going to be that. So when we start looking at that, that's when we'll.
It makes you wonder though, because he's being charged with 2nd-degree murder as well as 3rd-degree murder. For kneeling on this man's neck for nearly 9 minutes. How is that not clearly murder?
I'll tell you why it's not, because with murder, you have to say that the person intended to murder the person, intended to kill. 1st-degree murder is when you absolutely go out of your way to kill that person. That was the clear intention in your mind to murder him. So what they're saying is 2nd-degree, 3rd-degree murder is that, yes, he was kneeling on his neck. Therefore, you must have known you was causing him some harm. Possibly you wasn't aware that his life was ebbing away, even though people were saying check his breathing. So that way, with people saying check his breathing, it's kind of letting you know that there's a dangerous situation happening, and you was being careless to that situation, which has led to a murder. Therefore, it's 2nd or 3rd-degree murder. And if he's got a good enough lawyer, he might even get away with manslaughter.
Well, it's got to go back. They're going to say about training. I mean, in his training, there must be some indication that what you're doing or where you're kneeling could kill this man. They must have training for that. There's no way he could not know that he's killing this man. And even after
reasonable force. They kill enough of us by just using reasonable force.
Yeah. Yeah.
Enough
Well,
of
I think
it.
I think because of all of that, we definitely need to have the cameras in there. Definitely,
Mm,
definitely,
mm.
definitely,
It'd be
definitely
interesting,
need to
and
have
it'll
the
be coming
cameras
up
in
to the
there.
anniversary as well of
Yeah.
George Floyd's passing. So it's going to be very, 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 very tense. And I think that, you know, if it goes the wrong way and they don't get the judgment right, we're in for some steamy times next year.
Well, I
Definitely.
just beat some drum for the for our ancestors to appear in that court. That the other.
Talking about our ancestors, let's move things on with as regards to our forebearers, especially in this country, the Windrush generation. We witnessed so much scandal, what happened over the last couple of years, and now it seems like there's another slap in the face as regards to the compensation scheme. Oh my God!
Well, honestly, I mean, you can't make it up. Apparently, out of the 1,000, well, approximately 1,200 people that applied for the Windrush compensation, they have only compensated 60.
How they see us, man. It's another. It's like to say, well, you know what? We got this right in the first place. That's almost like what they're saying. That
Yeah,
if 1,000 people odd, 1,000 odd people applied, and you've only given compensation to 60, that means that the rest of those people who have actually applied, you're saying you deserved what you got. That's what that's saying.
Absolutely. But yet we hear as recent as what 2015, 2018, the last slave owners have been paid their final dividends from the emancipation of slavery.
Yeah, I've been doing a little bit of research into that as well. I've been looking at now the stately homes around the whole of the UK and see how many of them were built on the wealth of slavery. And I think it's time for some of us to pack our grip and start moving to some of them places.
We're squatting in the wrong places. That's
Not
what
even
we're doing.
squatting. You understand? I feel my grandfather money, sweat and tears come build this here thing. Me come for moving.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
All barbecue festival in the big backyard. You're mad. We are moving, we are tell you.
But it's not even, you know, we're laughing, but it's a serious matter because our foreparents did build those homes, and a lot of the trinkets that they've got has probably come from out of countries like Africa, Jamaica, and what have you, to decorate their rooms and that. So, you know, it hurts to see that. Well, it hurts to see that it's only 1,200 applications that has been put in, and out of that is only 60 that has been honoured. So for me, what springs to my mind is that we're talking about the elderly here, which is probably why the applications are so low. And with experience in looking after my mum, when I first started to look after her, and I'd have to call, I don't know, maybe the NHS or wherever, you know, I was faced with the automated system. And then to add salt to injury, you'd have on there, and if you're hard of hearing, press button number 5. Well, how's the elder going to hear it if they're hard of hearing? Do you know what I mean? So it's like
Liberties.
The elders cannot navigate through the whole heap of farm. You take a form to one, I'm a bad man. Do you know what I mean? So that's probably why the applications are so low, and that's probably why only 60 has been paid out. So I think that somebody needs to champion this and have a hub where our elders who are deserving of this compensation can apply to. And this is where our generation, a generation under us, need to get hold of the elders in our family and make sure that they're compensated and do the form filling for them. Because 1,200.
What's your thoughts, Tony? No, thank you for that, Elaine. Good idea.
I've long pointed out our real situation in this country and in other countries, right? You're captives of the empire, and the empire deal with you how you want, and we don't have a cohesive body or bodies to represent in cases like this. So what tends to happen is that, you know, we obviously rely upon the BBC or Sky News or one of these reporters who look into this scandal, report it, and then the government starts jumping up and saying, "Oh, we're sorry," and start doing whatever. And then when the news dies down again, they go back to the abuse, which is what this is again. So it's a really difficult situation. I mean, we don't have that representation that can actually go to the government and say, okay, what's, something, a body that can do oversight and say, well, where are we with these applications? Why are there only 60? Right? We don't have anything like that. And so what happens, it allows the government to drag their feet, right? And as Elaine said, sometimes the issue could be with the elderly who, so in processing the forms and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's a small part of it, but I think the government's sort of a pattern of behaviour suggests that, listen, we don't really give a damn. We're only compensating you and do whatever because we were exposed, right? And we don't want to come across as if we don't like you and we don't really care about you. So we have to show that we care. But once the news dies down, everything sort of grinds very, very. Those wheels grind very, very slowly. And here we are. 60 people have been compensated, and I bet you, basically they got tuppence for it as well.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the things what I would like to find out if what percentage of the application what they actually put in did they actually receive. So if somebody put in compensation for 10,000, how much did they actually get? And again, is there some kind of appeal process, man? And most importantly, is there a deadline? Because usually with these scheming junk, it's the only word that I could use at this time of the day. These scheming junk, there's probably a time limit on how long you can apply for, or for compensation.
Yeah.
So again, it's making that aware to those people who went through that horrendous time, man.
Maybe this is the time where we can use Rodigan.
Definitely, you know what? Definitely should do a dub plate for it. Definitely do a dub plate for it, man. If you've got any comments, please let us know. You know what I mean? We'd love to hear your comments on this one. We've just got two more bits for you before we wrap up today. A quick one, a very, very quick one. We're not going to spend too long on this. This week, we had 3 of our young brothers traveling on the Central Line, and they was about to disembark at Bank. But however, just before they got there, a gentleman decided, in his best Anglo-Saxon, to abuse them. This is what happened.
What? Exactly. Fucking racist. You're fucking racist. Yeah. You deserve that. You deserve that.
Push emergency button. Pull emergency button. Pull the emergency button.
Call help. Don't have a racist. Let him lie there. He deserves that. He deserves that for all the shit he's spoke. No, don't move him.
Go. Is there a problem there?
Yes, there is a problem.
Okay, so there you have it. Sorry for some of the Anglo-Saxon words spoken during that video recording, but literally what happened, this guy was racially abusing these 3 black guys continuously throughout his journey. Again, this I think what happened was, I'm not saying they retaliated to the verbal abuse and the disgusting words he was saying to them. I think it was the fact that they just wanted to make sure that next time he go on the underground, he wear a mask.
When I saw that, you're too funny. When I saw that, what came to my mind is black youths, be on your guard, because that just looked like some form of setup to me. I mean, it looked like we're too quiet. Let's start some stuff, right? And, sticks and stones can break my bones and words can never hurt me. Now, them 3 boys can be picked up.
No, they were wearing masks. They were wearing masks. So let me see how they can find them. Well, that's why they want to bring in all these kind of high technology and stuff like that, so that they can recognize people by their eyeballs and things like that. But on a serious note, he could be just somebody who's just gone out there to pick
on our youths because he knows he's going to get sparked out. He's just taken one for the team. Do you know what I mean? I just don't think that
That was by chance. That was.
yeah, he shouldn't have done. I don't think the boy should have punched him. I really,
Well,
really don't.
All I know
don't think he
say,
should have.
if he's taking one for the team, well, that's one down. There's 10 more to go. So make them step up. Because every one of them step up, then gonna get knocked out. Because to me, it takes it back to the old school. You know, when you say the wrong thing to the wrong person back in the day at school, you get your ass bust. And you know what? You learn soon enough. Ooh, yeah. Dop enough frightened are you? So,
yeah, well, nothing over frightened.
Yeah.
Well, you know, okay.
I think Elaine might have a point. I think the climate in which this is taking place in suggests that this guy was either terribly insensitive or he wanted to rile someone up for something to happen. One thing you can say about the young people nowadays, maybe our generation, we will probably suck that up and be upset about it, but a lot of them, they're not taking that. And you know what? Good for them. What was really heartening about this video, right? And I know when we have this show, we often talk about our issues and often how sort of, you know, the higher ups in the white establishment do this, do that, whatever. But it was so good to hear righteous white people saying that he deserved that, right? That you listen to the background comments of the girls there, so the girl passes white girl that said he deserved that. Don't help a racist, right? And that helps us to understand. Listen, there are righteous white people out there who love justice.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
It's never been a black and white thing.
Right.
It's always been against
right and wrong.
Against racism.
We're righteous and white people are unrighteous. No, they're righteous and unrighteous on both groups. It's good to see, right, that there are people there who put justice before the color of a man's skin, right? Which is how we should all attempt to be.
Yeah.
And the fact, and that sort of encourages me, right? Because it suggests that there are also people who are tired of this crap, right? And the other thing, Mr. C, we were talking last week about what happens when somebody called you that name and you thumped them, and 400 years of anger comes out. Did you see what happened when the man was thumped? He was on the floor, he was knocked out, and the boys but they kicked his hand. They were shying and they kicked his hand. And they wanted to do more to him, right? That is what that does to you, right? It's that it's not just about the punch, right? Even when the guy was totally out cold, it's almost not they want to kill him, but they want to do him in so badly because all that expressed anger, all that oppression that they feel within themselves is what was being generated by that guy. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, you know what? I don't have no sympathy for him, but I'm encouraged and heartened by the response of the people who were around, right? Who felt that justice had been served. And, you know, that encourages me in terms of moving on, that actually there are people that you can have very, very good relationships.
And I think, you know, in closing on this subject, I think it's a good reminder for any racists watching this that, you know, please do not go and drink Tennent's, you know, Red Stripe or any of them premium lagers on a hot day and then travel on the tube, because you know what, your real thoughts may come out at the wrong time, and then you know people. and you may wake up sober in a hospital.
Well, if I can just appeal to my young black men, hold it down as much as you can, because I just don't want to see any of you in cuffs over no racists. Do you know what I mean? You've got a bigger fight to do. It's not about letting them get away with it. It really isn't about that. But say what you like to me, but don't put your hand on me. If they put their hand on you, spark him. Make him know which doppy and buck up pan. Spark him. But you know, try your best, because you're right now, young men and young women, it seems to me that your agenda or focus is getting home safe and alive. You come out your front door, anything can happen. You can run up in any one of them. Do you know what I mean? Your thing is to get home alive and safe to your family. So don't let these people draw you into any of their coloss.
No, perfect. And you know what, let's finish with a fantastic young man. We mentioned about him earlier on today. Of course, international global superstar Stormzy has, you know, every 3 months or 4 months or every year, this guy seems to do something which rewrites how we see young black males. Here we go. Stormzy gives £500,000 pounds, not couple burgers, not couple trainers, £500,000 as as a scholarship for disadvantaged students, man. So listen, you have to pick up the man. You know, first it was getting people into universities. Then he set up the young girls, the young ladies with books, becoming authors, and now this. Tony, what was your thoughts when you saw this, man? When you saw this story?
Well, you know, that's what you call giving back, isn't it? That's what what they say when you become a star, and how do you give back? And I mean, there's very few greater ways of giving back than doing something like that. So you can only respect a man like that, not just for his talents, but his humanity.
Yeah, and you know what? Listen, if there's any roadmen out here, then look, I'm not saying that you need to stop doing what you're doing, but please take a leaf out of Stormzy's book for every 20 of our young people who you've got doing country lines, send at least the same amount to university. Send the same amount to university. For every child that you have pushing this, that on the street, do the same and send one to university or to college, or set them up in proper legitimate business.
Well, that's a good idea, and maybe we can look about putting our own schools together.
100.
We need our own schools, because I think that where our children are not being taught about themselves, then we need to put them somewhere where they are being taught about themselves. Do you know what I mean? It's as simple as that. And we have enough people like Stormzy, or who earns like Stormzy, to be able to put schools together. And I mean, with this whole COVID-19, if you don't have a certificate and if you don't have this, you can't go to school and all of that, then something, let's do a school without the certificate. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I think that we need to pay attention to our children's education, but I think that they need to be educated by people that look like them and know about them and can give them the story as opposed to his story. I saw Stormzy actually giving a talk to some children who must have been about 5, asking some really lovely questions, and the way that he was dealing with them. I mean, all I can say is that Stormzy is the same wherever you see him, because he was the same kind of character in front of those kids as he was backstage when he won at the recent awards and that. Obviously, he weren't swearing and leery and drunk as he was there being really merry, but you can see that he's just a real person. He's somebody's brother. Do you know what I mean? Somebody's uncle. And I think that that part of him makes him do the most lateral thing, which is to give back.
And not only that, I think what we've got to understand as well with Stormzy is that Stormzy is an A-grade student as well. So let's not think that he's just he came from road and everything. He was at the top of his grades at school.
And you can believe it, because Stormzy, actually, he's one of these, and don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure he owns all these masters. He calls the shots. He really manages his career. He obviously has his team around him, but there is no thin line. There's no grey area as to who's running his team. You know what I mean? So Stormzy, I've got a lot of time for Stormzy, and also Dave. So
well, look, we could talk about Stormzy. We could talk about Jamaican honoring our musical legends. We could talk about things what racists shouldn't say on the central line when there's a young black man around all day long. But however, all good things must come to an end. Tony,
Can I quickly remind all black people in the diaspora and viewers that this Thursday, the 20th of August, 2020, will bring to the end 400 years of enslavement and oppression in the Americas. On the 20th of August, 1619, the first 12 black enslaved people were brought to Virginia. And this Thursday, the 20th of August, 2020, will bring an end to a 400-year prophecy in the Bible that said that these people would be enslaved and oppressed for a total of not exceeding 400 years. So we should expect that after this time, in the weeks and months to come, that things are going to get very exciting in the world.
100%.
God
man.
willing. God willing.
100%, man. Any final thoughts, DJ Elaine?
Final thoughts, what, to sum up the whole of this evening?
No, not just for you. For any final thoughts at
Yeah,
all?
no, for final thoughts, you know, whatever's going on in the world, you know, just be safe, have a clean heart and mind. And I think that would kind of keep you in good stead, you know, just stay safe and keep God in the mix.
100%. Just want to say thank you to all the people who contributed with your comments this week, man. We really do value them. And honestly, we'll catch you back next week with some more hot topics. Hot topics. What a week.
What a week. Jesus.